How are you doing?
Good morning, I'm doing good. How are you doing, man?
Sure, you're doing good. Looking at you tired. That's like it was. You tired this morning or what? Just like me. Well, Kintu was there long before us. What you say, Mr. Kintu? What you say? What's up? What's up?
Well, greetings, blessed love, Sufre, St. Lucia. I know that. Yeah, man, we good. It's a pleasure to be here once again, you know. Not the first time here, but nice to be here again.
So we don't like them. Them man will give to you. Them man will take from you. Them heart will love you. And the same heart will hurt you. Them man will bless you. The same man will curse you. Them man will die for you. The same man will live for you. But we don't trust them.
Okay, before getting this here, let's get into some old times of Mr. Kintu here. You know what he was before, what he is now. You know, man have to advance himself all the time.
Babylon don't like we, I so we don't like them. Pretend, it's good. Tout le monde qui m'a élevé, on est pour changer ma gueule avec moi c'est bien.
Well, this one they got to remember, right? All the time, yeah. Kintu, first caller.
Dominic, what?
Shazay Manyo. Correct on that, Nigos?
Tout le monde qui m'a élevé, on est pour changer ma gueule avec moi c'est bien. Où ça ne va pas blague, ça c'est la vérité. Jésus nous a dit ça pardonner péché. Cette ici, Dominique, Guadeloupe, Martinique, où ça que tu veux l'écouter. Hey! On a jamais eu trop parlé, les bélions pour changer, mais il y a un fait pour les guerres. On a jamais eu trop parlé, les bélions pour changer, mais il y a un fait pour les guerres. On a jamais eu trop parlé, les bélions pour changer, mais il y a un fait pour les guerres. On a jamais eu trop parlé, les bélions pour changer, mais il y a un fait pour les guerres. Your bagay qui la priorité pour les commander comme ça pour les payer. Pour nous tomber, so qu'appelle la mode pour commencer à prier. So qu'appelle la mode pour prier, mon Dieu chercher. Ma maman va pour passer c'est ma déconnette, c'est ma déconnette, c'est ma déconnette, moi t'es peine à pécher. C'est ma déconnette, c'est ma déconnette, c'est ma déconnette, moi t'es peine à pécher. Si j'ai un temps, moi t'es peine à la tête péché. Ma tête me l'est avec quelqu'un, pas même pour moi.
You want to talk about this one here? Don't talk about this one, huh?
Yeah, man. Well, this one is called When's Cometh My Help, you know? And it's actually one of the songs. I can't even rightly remember which one it is right now, you know? But through, we decided to sing it out, you know? And it came out quite good. And then I decided, let me feature my son on this one there. So this is a very, very old track. Because back then my son was just 6 years old when he voiced on this thing then. He's a big man now, 19 already. You know, so it's a very, very, very old track that we are talking about it now. This also was a time when I was a believer in the God of the Bible and the Jesus story, you know. But life has evolved, you know. Life has evolved, we have evolved, you know, we can't stay stagnant. But you don't know, say anything with stagnant, it will stink and it's not good for your health. So life is an ever evolutionary process.
Forever.
Oh, forever.
Forever and forevermore. I will lift up
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love music.
Best music.
So we call it the change, right? Change big time here. This was called a mad crowd, right? Mad crowd. Tell us about the mad crowd right there, Mr. Kintu.
Well, mad crowd is a song where, you know, in my evolutionary process, I realized, boy, I'm not like a lot of people. While everybody follow the crowd, I am kind of far from the maddening crowd. So I penned it down to show that the life that I live is something that is totally different than what mainstream people expect it to be. But when you far from the maddening crowd, most people will consider you to be insane. Now this I call my creative difference, you know. So my insanity is just something that is different. So you far from the maddening crowd. When you're born poor, you don't have to die poor. So you have to evolve. You're born a Christian, you don't have to die a Christian, you know. And so it stays, you know. You're born rich or you're born poor, you don't have to remain in that same status where you're born, you know. You can't let your birth dictate to you how to die. So this is what the mad crowd is all about.
So like you said about when you be born poor, it doesn't mean you're going to end up poor, right? It just means, well, boy, you got to check for yourself, check where you're coming from and check where you have to go to, right?
True.
Alright.
And also he mentioned the evolutionary process. Can you tell the listeners about that?
Well, yeah, my evolutionary process is basically a spiritual one. Started off Roman Catholic, that's where I was born. I was born a Roman Catholic, grew up in the Roman Catholic Church. After a while, I left the Catholic Church, I followed Rastafarianism. I still left that, you know, and then it was Church of God Seventh Day. And now I have evolved to a free thinker. A free thinker is basically one where we do not have to accept anything anybody say to them that they have to believe. But even as the good book says, we have to prove all things and hold fast to the book. So you really have to prove things to yourself. Because if I ask you for sugar, right, you can't come give me salt and tell me, say, this is white sugar. I have to taste from it and see and prove for myself that this is really white sugar and not salt. You know, I can't just take it at face value and just pour, you know, a 5 pound salt in a bucket of water and say, well, maybe I'll do some juice. It will come out salty, you know.
Right.
So you have to prove things to yourself, and you can't just accept what you have been taught. Because remember that the things what we were taught were given to us by our oppressors.
Right.
I'm talking about politics, religion, and education. These are the Holy Trinity. This is what divide the black people and the black race, or the indigenous people of this earth. When I say black people, not necessarily persons from Africa, but you know, the indigenous people of the Americas were also black people. our names have evolved over the years. They call us niggers, they call us beasts, they call us Negroes, they call us Indians. And we're just a mutant and we keep on mutating, but they can't destroy us no matter how much they try. You understand?
Right.
Yeah, man. So that's what the evolutionary process is all about. So now, as a free thinker, you don't allow persons to tell you or to dictate to you how to worship and who to worship or what to worship.
That's right. So I kind of pick up, you used to do more or less like gospel music.
Yes, I used to do a lot of Christian gospel music.
So tell the listeners about that in regards to your evolution. And where you started off and where you are today.
Where I'm at today is I have nothing really to do with Christianity. Now I respect everybody and I respect everybody's religious belief, you know. But what may work for you may not work for me. You understand? Now,
that's definitely true.
I've been telling a lot of people that my parents are my God and Goddess. And persons feel that, boy, this is insanity. But really and truly, when I read a good book, what they call the Bible, and, you know, everything in the Bible that it taught me that God would have done for me, it is Joseph James Lamontagne and Mary Hilda Lamontagne who did all of that for me.
Yeah.
So when I tell people that Mary and Joseph Lamontagne are my God and Goddess, some people take offense. But wait, anybody can prove God. I'm not saying that it does not exist. But in the manner that they taught us according to the Bible, God is not that way at all.
So what when they bring the argument? Well, maybe God did it through Mary and Hilton? Is the other
could be. It could be.
What would you say about
now, God is really a generic term, and you can use God to be anything and everything that you want it to be.
That's right.
However, Mary and Hilda are gods. Now, I differentiate between God or gods and the creator or creators, because we can't really prove it, because you see how majestic this earth is, and we see the coconut trees keep on bearing coconut every year, and the plum tree will be plum and the potato will be potato. So we know that this is by divine intelligence that these things are happening.
That's
you
a
know?
fact, huh?
So
nobody can argue that.
No one can argue that.
Yes.
But we do not know how many that was there in the beginning. Though when you read from Genesis 1, it speaks of in the beginning, in the English version, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and God there is singular. But if we claim that this Bible comes from the Hebrew text, right? The Hebrew for God there is Elohim. And Elohim is the singular form of God. So what really should have been there is, in the beginning, the gods created the heavens and the earth.
That's right. That's what
right?
the original translation.
That is what it should be. But then they give us a singular being as being God, and this God has done everything. Now, when you read in the same Genesis 1, you go down to verse 17 thereabout. It speaks of God in the singular according to the English. But when you read through the lines, even in that singular English God, you realize, and God said, let us, and us is plural, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And the end product of that image and likeness was male and female created he them. So by any means, my understanding of this is God, or the gods, have at least a masculine and a feminine entity.
Yes. So more or less a collective consciousness which embodies both genders.
Both genders. And that is what makes life all the more important, because life is all about balance.
Exactly.
You can't have male without female and reproduce. You can't have female without male and reproduce. You understand? So in order for the creation process to continue, because I often look at the creator as a clockmaker. He builds this clock and it works on autopilot, and if you don't interfere with it, it will work on, you know. And so you see, when the fig tree or the banana tree, before it bears, it's already growing up these little ones around it. So the creation process continues. So with the mango tree, the mangoes fall, and then the young ones will grow below it.
That's right.
You understand? So the creators are always at work. The way that it was designed for the continuation process of creation, or the continuation of creation process.
Right.
So human beings, you and me, male, female, we will come together and we will bring forth an offspring. You know? So I could not imagine that I would be fed a lie, and I say it's a bold-faced lie in the Bible, that an all-male God in an all-male heaven, and I say an all-male heaven, have an all-male son. You see, because the God of the Bible, Jehovah or Yahweh or whichever name we choose to call him, has a son, an only begotten son, which is, according to the story, Jesus. Now, whenever an angel appears in human form or to man, it always appears as a male. We see the story of Lot. We see the story of Abraham.
Right.
We see Moses. So the angels all appear to be male. So it goes to show that this God have no balance in heaven. And if you don't have balance in heaven and I have balance on earth, I would rather stay on earth, trust me.
Right.
Because I don't want to go up in heaven and find only male entities. You understand what I'm saying?
But speaking of that, it is said that as it is above, it is below. So based on what you said there, it has to be the same.
It has to be the same. It has to be balanced.
So if it's not
as above, so be
balanced
it.
on both ends, something is wrong.
Something is totally
You know
wrong.
something is wrong.
Yes, and I know something is wrong really, actually. Because I mean from a child growing up, a male being will connect to a feminine being and vice versa.
Right.
You understand? This thing about homosexuals, I know this is nothing really to do with the question, but you want to know about the evolutionary process.
Yes. I mean,
and the Bible is part of my evolutionary process. You
That's
understand?
right, yes.
Because it was the Bible that I was studying when I realized that even in the Bible, the God of the Bible is a very destructive being. You
As
understand?
depicted by the Old Testament in particular, right?
But even in the New Testament, because according to the New Testament, if you don't obey this being,
Yes.
by any means, you will be going to hell.
Definitely.
And I can't understand why someone can come to me and write in a book and tell me this is a God of love, or this is a being who loves me. You understand? Love to me would be what my mother and my father did to me.
It's forgiveness and forgiveness and forgiveness
exactly.
and forgiveness over and over and over
and over again.
Right.
And there's no end, there's no limit.
There is no limit to it.
Yeah.
So if you are a perfect God and you create man with shortcomings, why create man with shortcomings only to destroy them when they falter? It just does not make sense to me. I mean, I'm about 44 years old and I have children that I don't beat them. You know, I don't raise the hands on my children, but I talk to them. Because as I realized at 44 years old, I still err.
Yes.
You understand?
And we're still learning.
We're still learning.
Always learning.
Yes. So we cannot, have a being like this that is all powerful and all knowing and decide that, look, I'm going to put a temptation in the midst of a garden for man.
Just so that you will fall, right?
Just so that you will fall.
Because you already know that the design is already
created
going
in
to
such a
cause
manner.
the person to actually take the bait, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean, come on.
So to me, it just does not make sense. Now, I also said that the Bible is a book of truth principles, but not a book of truth. The Bible is not a historical fact book. Right. But there are truth principles contained in the Bible.
Moral principles that really benefit us if we actually
if we actually follow it.
Yes.
For instance, the story of David and Goliath. I will take the principle of that story and Goliath in the sense that whatever obstacle that may be in your way,
that's right,
you can overcome it.
And the parables too.
The parables too. Yeah, there are many in these things that you can look through. You can study them and read between the lines and see for yourself what it is telling you. For instance, God, according to the story, wants a people, a loving people. But this is the same God that saw a skyscraper being built, just about 300 feet tall in the story of Babel, and he came down to confuse the tongue of man. So he is, and this is the same Bible that tells me that this God is not an author of confusion, but he created the confusion of languages.
Also, that's what I was about to say. So how do you explain the language barrier?
I really don't know. I really don't know. And it goes to such an extent that persons are now saying and quoting from the book of Acts, they are really doing it out of context. When the Bible speaks about there is no name under heaven whereby which mankind can be saved. The name Jesus does not appear there at all in the scripture.
In the original.
But persons often say except the name Jesus.
And it's so wrong about that because Jesus, there is no J in the
Hebrew alphabet. Up to your like today.
That's right.
Up to your like today, there is nothing that represents the letter J. And the letter J in the English alphabet is something that is very recent, less than 500 years old.
Yes.
So how is it? I often ask my Christian friends, but what name were they calling before some 500 years ago? How did they know the quote-unquote Messiah? You understand me? So it is just things, you read things in the Bible, and if you choose not to question it, you just follow. So you have to be far from the maddening crowd. Do not allow the crowd to dictate to you how to live it and how to go about it. You understand? So,
well, you know what I would say? Einstein was said to be a madman.
Oh yes.
But you can see all the inventions
that is attributed to him.
Yes.
Exactly. We are often mad to things that other persons don't understand.
Exactly.
You understand? That's why I prefer to call it my creative difference.
Right.
It's just that I'm different, and we are all different.
And there's nothing wrong with difference. That's what makes the world what it is,
That's
right?
what makes it what it is. Because if everybody had to be here this morning, same time as me, what a boring place it would be. Nobody would be listening to me. You understand? Because we all will be uttering the same speech this morning.
Truly.
You understand? But at least somebody can hear and learn something, or somebody can say, well, yeah, this man is mad for true, and this is just garbage that he's speaking. You understand? But we give thanks for life still.
Anyway, more music every morning, Kintu's right here. More music is keep it up here, 102.1 FM.
Hey, this is Miss B, and the pulse of the nation, of the nation, of the nation.
We go after the blue cheek to myself, and we never want to like the back of myself. We realize that look like yourself, and at them time we start to say, I am power, I am Kintu, lots of jump and sound production. Everything got made in balance, you know. Keeping it real. Listen to this. You have a father God without a mother God. You have a son God without a daughter God. You have a brother God without
I
a
want
sister God.
the radio land to listen to this one very, very clearly, you know, because there is a message in it. Listen to it good, you know.
Well, everything is balanced. You make man and woman, male and female, likewise yin and yang, positive and negative, the right and the wrong, left and right, even sky and ocean, there is animals in combination, even in true fertilization. This will man be every form of union. Listen up, people, come God around. We have a father God without a mother God. You have a son God without a daughter God. You have a brother God without a sister God. You have a male God without a female God. When everything is balanced, there is cool and hot. Started from the
But he was speaking about the I thought Mary was on mother God.
Well, that is what they say. Mary was the mother of God. I think you accept Jesus as God. But it depends on the form of confusion. Because some people accept Jesus as God and some don't.
Yes.
So based on your confusion, then you will be saying,
because they don't know they ask who was Jesus' mother.
yeah, but Jesus have to have a mother.
We have to have that.
You must have a mother, you know.
God without a sister God. You have a male God without a female God. When everything is balanced, there is she and she. Cannot think bishop without L-O-N-G. Cannot have the wife without the stupid ignorance to be with intelligence. Some men are captive and other men free. They raise the poor and richie. Some created blind while others can see. There are those that but listen to me. You are Kintu, like jumping sound production. Everything got made in balance, you know. Are you done? Keeping it real. Listen to this. You have a father God without a mother God. You have a son God without a daughter God. You have a brother God without a sister God. You have a
Alright, for this generation, I'd like Mr. Kintu to explain who is Kintu. So who is the guy? Who's the guy talking there?
likewise in and
Things change, you know.
the right and
Brand new Kintu.
and right, even sky and ocean, there is animals.
So should I say Officer Raphael?
Nah, when it comes to music, Raphael Lamontagne and Niggas Kintu are two different beings, you understand? If you listen to the way I speak, when it comes to music, it's different than when this other being is speaking, you understand? So, there is no officer in here today.
No officer here.
It's Niggas Kintu, it's Kintu, you know? And that's just who it is. Yeah, man. But,
You have a male God without a female God.
When you say officer, is there something Matt didn't tell me?
apparently, Mac must have left something out. left something away from you, you know. But really and truly, I'm a police officer.
Okay,
I
that's
have been for quite a while.
Alright.
Teach me the truth, we know the no lie that. There is a father God without a mother God. You have a son God without a daughter God. You have a brother God without a sister God. without a female gun.
So believe is also
Yeah, well, before I ask him anything, I just want to say that I like the fact that he spoke of his evolution, because that's something a lot of
wait. Remember he said this morning that Jesus Christ may come on the radio again.
No, I didn't say that. We actually had a Jamaican artist to be side by side with you.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, the way I like to do the show is to kind of group the artists according to type of vibe.
Right.
It's okay. I said, okay, well, it's okay, it's good, you know.
Yeah.
But what I like the fact that he's here, because what he's saying there is very, very necessary for people to hear. You know, a lot of artists start off at one point and they don't have the guts to go forward and grow and express themselves according to their growth. They may grow in their personal lives, but when it comes to like a public expression, musically, they kind of feel embarrassed to say that this is who I used to be 5 years back, but this is who I am now. Now, you know, a real man and woman knows that life, you can never stay stagnant. Like you said, if you stay stagnant, if you stay standing in one spot, you don't go anywhere.
Exactly.
So the key to life is to accept that we have to grow, we have to evolve, and this man right here knows about evolution.
Yes.
And has embraced that. So for the critics out there that will say to him, oh, and you know people like to talk.
Yeah, they like to talk.
So they'll be from the sidelines, oh, but he used to be this, he used to be that, he was in the church, he used to sing Christian music, and now today. But guess what? You're 10 steps ahead from them, all them. Because at least you have the balls to actually grow and to stand in the place that you are today.
Yep.
So it's a lesson for all of us to learn, you know, and to look at where you are today, because your level of understanding about life is so much vaster than it was back then.
Yes.
Because as you say, as a free thinker, it's forced you to sit, look inwardly, and not at what society has. Yes, exactly.
Right.
So I respect you for that.
Thank you very much. You know, but this song there which you just listened to, Balance, was it?
Balance.
You realize in the creation there is balance everywhere. And we have a Father God without a Mother God, as the song goes, and the Son God without a Daughter God. You know, we have a Brother God, we have Brother Jesus, but we don't have Sister anybody. You know? So the whole imbalance thing. Now that just goes to show, except for a few instances where women are mentioned by doing a great role in the Bible, women are generally, and in the New Testament it states, but for the likes of me, I can't remember scripture right now. I can't remember the book or exactly where it comes from, but I know it's there somewhere. A woman is supposed to sit in silence in a church and she should say nothing.
That's right.
You understand me? And that is the Bible. That is New Testament. For some who may say, well, what came to, I know after you left this Christian thing, you begin to follow the Hebrew Israelite way. You understand? That was part of the evolutionary process. Because I realized that a lot of the things in the New Testament were contrary to that of the Old Testament.
A lot of it.
You understand? So as a result, I was leaned more towards the Old Testament things, because I was trying to reach as close to the source as humanly possible.
Right.
So, like finding the name of the Creator as it was given to us based on what we knew. And today they only have a title, Lord. And Lord, just like God, can be anything and everything.
Oh, anybody.
The person who rents this place
Could be
to you
Lord.
is a Lord. He's a landlord.
Yes.
You understand me? So Lord, like God, is generic and it can be anything and whatever you want it to be.
Just like the word God. This is why when you hear somebody say God, it can mean Buddha, it could be Krishna, it could be
whoever.
It could be
Lucifer too, you know.
It could be Lucifer.
Because Jesus is now fighting with Lucifer to get the title the bright and morning star.
Right.
Remember, Lucifer was the bright and morning star that was cast out of heaven.
Right.
Yes.
You understand me? But today, while we are lambasting Lucifer as being the bright and morning star, Jesus in the New Testament is claiming that he is the bright and morning star, and persons are welcoming it. You understand me? So we need to question. These are the little things that we have to question when there seems to be confusion, because to some it's not confusion, you know. A lot of the Christians will tell me, boy, Kintu, you're taking it out of context. You understand? So if I'm taking it out of context, I would love for them to bring to me why the title Bright and Morning Star that was originally given to Lucifer, Jesus is now fighting for that title.
And you know what I would say to people who's struck and hard struck and bent in the religious mindset, I would ask them, can you please explain the existence of good and evil in a world created by a God who is ultimately good?
You see, but that is one of the things a lot of the Christians refuse to quote in, I think it's Isaiah 5. Like I said, I cannot really remember the scriptures, but somewhere in Isaiah, the God of the Bible is claiming that he created both good and evil.
Well, that's it. That's the point I'm making.
And then the Christians now say, but you have it out of context. They say, no, God did not create evil as in evil.
Yes, so where did the evil come from? That's the point I'm trying to make. So we have to really think about things.
Where evil comes from. Yes, I agree.
We have to.
I personally don't know where evil comes from. I will not try to tell somebody I know where that comes from.
But we know
I don't even know where good comes from.
From one place.
Yes, there must be a source. And
yes.
So I don't even try to tell people what good is. Because something may be good to you and it's bad to me.
Bad to somebody else.
And something may be very good to me and bad to somebody else. For instance, Jesus does not work for me. So to me it's bad. But Jesus worked for a lot of people. Yes. And they welcome it. So I'm not here to bash Jesus. But I'm just talking about my evolutionary process.
Yes, definitely.
So if Christians out there is taking it wrong and being offended by what I'm saying, I'm very sorry. I don't mean to intend to offend anybody. However, I need to say what is my reality. You understand me?
Yeah, that's what
and that is my reality.
So that your fans can actually, understand you better.
Yeah, I don't have anything against Christians because a lot of my friends, most of my friends actually are Christians. You understand? St. Lucia is a predominantly Christian nation.
Yes, definitely.
So most of my friends are Christian. We talk about it every day. But the balanced thing is the God of the Bible is so imbalanced that he will not even allow a woman to speak in church. And we see women reading in church. We see women teaching in church. Especially when I was a Church of God Seventh Day, and I'm not bashing anybody, but there were women teaching the younger ones. But the Bible is saying that if a woman wants something, to know something, she should remain silent. And when she goes home, she would ask her husband at home, and her husband will explain to her. Now the issue I have with this is, what if my wife is more intelligent than I am?
That's right.
How can she come to me and ask me of things I don't know?
Exactly. Not only that, how does the woman who's the mother actually nurture and raise the offspring? Because who's going to do it? When the man has to be out there working, it's the woman to raise the child.
Yes,
so how is it that a woman should remain silent? Then a child will not be brought up at all. Right. You will just have to find your way through life.
Exactly.
Because we're supposed to be submissive. We're not supposed to have a voice. Therefore, we cannot usurp authority over our children either.
That is what it's taught. That is what it's taught. But I see it very, very differently. When I reason with my wife, if within myself I feel that she have a better understanding of the situation than I have, then we go with her way of it.
Definitely.
You cannot just look at somebody and say, why? Because these people married, the man is the head. You are the head of what?
Head of what?
You don't even know how to bring forth a child. You've never been like the old people say, you check what I'm saying? You don't know the pain that a woman has to go through to bring forth a child. I cannot see how a man is ever stronger, probably physically, but that may be the only way.
Yes.
But really, psychologically, a woman is very, very, very strong, much stronger than a man, I would say. You understand me? And I see women daily. I see my parents struggling in life, and I know it was no easy task because I did not born with a gold spoon. I was born poor. You understand me? That's why I refuse to remain poor. I may not have money, but Bob Marley said, some people are so poor that all they have is money. Mm-hmm. And money is what? Colored paper.
Well, he was right.
And paper is very valuable. Not valuable, sorry. It's worthless. Paper is worthless.
But valuable in the material sense.
In the material sense. But you don't need paper to do anything. So because, somebody decide to put a queen's head or a king's head or somebody's head on a piece of paper and say, boy, this is now legal tender. You have to accept that as legal tender. Now, this is what the oppressors use against us, They buy all our land and the things that we had, we are giving it to them basically. We have given them everything for paper. They come, they take our gold, our diamond, our land, our whatever it is, for a piece of colored paper. That is just useless. It's worthless.
Definitely.
However, in these times that we live in, if you do not have that piece of colored paper, trust me, you will suffer. You will suffer. You see? So, you know, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. But life has to be balanced by any means.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, you're just enforcing the balance that you spoke about and the confusion. So I think the message that you try to deliver to your fans is for people to actually look inwardly, ask questions within themselves, and not to just accept things that we hear growing up. Because to tell you the honest truth, if we have to sit and be honest with ourselves, our parents and grandparents were very ignorant.
Yes, they were.
They didn't have the book knowledge that we have today.
Right.
A lot of them couldn't read. Remember, it's only of late you have a lot of secondary schools springing up around the island, and people now have an opportunity to become educated.
True.
But our grandparents, remember, there was only convents, St. Joseph's convent up in the north,
and St. Mary's
just the main.
Yes.
So then, how would they know if what was taught to them was taught to them, and they passed it on to us? So people, we don't want anyone to take offense. It's just the reality of the situation that exists.
Yeah.
So it's a powerful message that this gentleman has here. Yes, because he's actually causing people to think, and not just think, but be free thinkers, not be bound to or restricted or controlled by somebody else's own opinion.
Right, and
feel
especially
like
in the spiritual, especially in the spiritual sense, because we have been given a kind of box thinking.
That's right.
And we don't go outside of the box.
Yes.
So basically, for instance, when I used to follow the Jesus story and I was a Church of God Seventh Day, you know, Saturday would be Sabbath. And if by any chance you get any other document to read that speaks of, let's say, Sunday as being the Sabbath, you would just discard it and say, well, this is garbage. And you don't read to see what's in there. You understand? And it happens for almost every other religion.
Yes,
if it says anything that is contrary to my way, I do not want it. Now, there is nothing contrary to me, because I am life. Yes. I do not have life, I am life.
Right.
This physical body will fall off. But before this physical body, what was I? I was a fetus before such time.
Right.
Before the fetus, what was I?
We were conscious.
I was a sperm cell. You understand? And the life proceed. I do not know what I was before. Based on technologies, that is what we know for now.
Yes.
But we were something before that. Because the good book said that of Jeremiah, God said to Jeremiah, according to the story, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. From the foundation of this earth, I call you by name. So I have ever been in existence. I'm just living in a moment in my existence in this physical realm.
That means you were already conscious before inception.
Before inception,
it's just that
you were already.
We cannot grasp the consciousness that we had back then.
And there is a reason for that.
Yes, there's a reason.
The reason for that is because we have been into this box fixing thinking thing. Because now persons, they will dictate to you what to think and how to think.
Right.
You understand? Even your child going to school, remember I mentioned earlier politics, religion and school, that is their Holy Trinity.
Right.
Not Mary, Jesus and well, Mary is not even in that anymore. It's Father, Son and Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And the Holy Spirit also, I must say, is addressed as a he. So it's all male entity. So when you see things like homosexuality is being rampant nowadays, you can't really question that and say, well, boy, we did something wrong. Of course we did something wrong. We accepted the way of the oppressors and the line book that they gave us. That's what we did. We refused to look upon nature. And if you look at nature, not just human being, the dog will go after the bitch.
Right.
The bull cow will go after the cow. You know, right. you can hardly. I mean, when the goat is young, the goat especially, when it's young, you will find a male goat climbing over another little male goat. But when these creatures grow, the male goat will only look after a female goat.
Right.
We are the only one, and this is a conditioning of the mind. This is not a sickness. This is not genetic.
Right.
You know, it's a conditioning of the mind that they're giving us.
Yes.
For instance, Maki, if I were to be raised in a family with girls only, and I'm the last boy, right? So you may see me moving my hands in a manner that is like girls, especially if there is no father figure around also. You understand? But that does not mean that I'm a homosexual. But persons will look at somebody with gayish attitude, tendencies, and say, well, this person is gay. That does not necessarily mean that this person is gay.
Right.
It is the conditioning of that person. But you can find that this person who has been among women all his life, decide, look, I'm going to stick out. And he may be the best man to treat any woman because he understands how a woman is. You understand? But because of our society and our thinking, our box thinking, that we look at it as a negative vibe. So we lambaste that kind of person. And next thing we know that this man, this young man who has a lot of potential is turning towards another man.
Yes.
You understand me? So we are our own problems. We are our own downfall. Now, if you don't look within, and even their book said too, that the Spirit of God dwells within man. So you can't go look for God in the sky. Don't look there for him at all. But look within yourself, like Sister Faye is saying. You know, when you look within yourself, you search within yourself and you will find God talking to you. Not like when you outwardly pray and you never hear nobody respond to you. So it's like you're praying to a phantom or to a ghost. Because if you and I are having a conversation right now, you will say that's right, Maki is laughing. So persons know that, look, we are having a conversation. But when you pray, you are having a one-way talking to your imaginary friend who never responds. When you look within, you hear things. And then they tell you, man, you start telling people, boy, you know, I hear a voice and the voice tells me X.
But that's the real prayer.
That is the real prayer. That is the real prayer.
That's a mystery.
Yeah, man, you have to meditate. But the Bible teaches that meditation is bad too, you know. They tell us we should not meditate. Sorry, not the Bible. Christianity tells us that. But the Bible said in Psalms 1, blessed is the man that meditates in the law of the Lord.
That's right.
You understand
once the focus is positive, like you're not meditating, oh, I'm going to see that man.
Yeah.
I have to chop his head off.
Right.
So you're focusing on that.
You focus on that. And it's a meditation too, you know. It's a negative meditation, but it is. You know,
yes.
It is.
So all things that are good, back to what you were saying about using the Bible, biblical concepts as a guideline, all things that are good, pure, honest,
holy and good and just and true.
Think on these things. So you meditate
on positivity.
Yes. You know?
Yeah.
So powerful message. Message.
Yeah, well, some people don't think it is, but I love those who don't think it is because they are actually encouraging me to do more study.
That's right.
You understand?
Yes.
Because
that's what resistance and back to the yin and yang.
Right.
That's what it's for.
It's always
to
bad.
allow for us to move from point A to point B.
True.
And then from point B to point C. So the more people push against something, is the more you now take that negativity and you convert it, and it actually propels you even further.
Exactly.
Yes. So it's not a bad thing when you have opposition sometimes.
No, it's not. It's never bad.
It's never. I was about to correct myself.
Opposition is always good. You know, if there is no opposition, I mean, the growing process.
It remains the same.
It remains the same.
And when you look back, when you've grown, you look at yourself back, then you say, but you know what? That was really necessary.
Yes, it was.
That was really necessary.
It was.
It was part of the journey.
Yes, I've told people I did not regret for one moment my days spent as a Christian.
No,
I've never regretted it.
Definitely.
You understand me?
No part of your
life.
The
days when I used to worship Haile Selassie as God and King also before I go into the Church of God thing, I never regretted any of it. That is my life.
That's right.
You know, if I were to regret my past, then I regret who I am today.
Yes, exactly. And you're not an acceptance of yourself.
Exactly. Because it is your past that make you who you are today.
That's right.
Had I not have these experiences in my past, I would not be here today.
Exactly.
You know, so the past is necessary.
It is.
You know, the journey is good. That is why the second gospel album was called The Free Thinker's Journey. That's when the journey began. You know, when I begin to let go of Christianity and start following the Hebrew Israelite way of life, you know, and the journey continues because there is nothing in this world or anybody which says that the moment you found Jesus, you should stop. I was looking for something. I was searching for something. I found Rastafarianism. I continued searching. I found Jesus. Why must I stop?
But
I'm
also
still growing.
Also, the Bible said that secrets will be revealed to those in the last days.
It does.
If you want to talk about what you just said there, so it means to say that how should I say? You know, the evolution of knowledge was meant to continue.
Yes, it was meant to continue.
Even after the New Testament, that would not have been the end.
No, it's not the end.
It would still be, you know, an influx of knowledge coming forth and coming forth. And as time goes by, it's going to increase.
Yeah, but the Bible did say that too. The Bible did say in the last days knowledge shall increase.
Yes.
You know, and it will increase. Yeah. However, in the increasing of knowledge, the oppressor did put a stumbling block in your way. And he said to you that if anyone come to you with another doctrine And Paul went as far as saying, even an angel were to come to you with a different doctrine. Believe it not. So in a manner of speaking, when you begin to evolve after, yes, you begin to evolve after, then they say, but look man, you false. You false because the Bible say, because they use the Bible as the measure stick.
Yes.
But where did the Bible come about? And I know you have a brethren on your Friday's program that talks a lot about these things. Where did the Bible come about? The Bible is a plagiarized document.
The Bible speaks of polygamy back in the old day.
Oh yes, even in the new day.
Actually condemn it.
In the new day it does.
Because currently you can only marry one woman.
Yes.
So if you want to hold fast to one part of the Bible, you have to hold fast to
all of it. But even in the New Testament, speaking of the Bible, even in the New Testament it speaks about polygamy.
Yes.
Because Paul was speaking to was it Titus and Timothy, or in these two writings, it speaks of if a man desire the office of a bishop, he should therefore be blameless. And it went on to say the second criteria was the husband of one wife.
Yes.
Now, this is where you question.
That's what I'm saying.
If the elder is supposed to be the husband of one wife, then that is saying a lot. That is saying that Maki can have 2, 3, 4, 5 wives if you so desire.
Right.
However, if you desire the office of a bishop, you should only have one.
Yeah.
This is also saying, right, that a man should basically remain without a wife. Unless if you are an elder or a bishop, you should not have a wife. Now you pick your choice.
Yes.
I cannot say that for you. It's your choice. But the Bible did say the office, when one seeks the office of a bishop or an elder, he must be blameless first. Secondly, the husband of one wife. So that is saying a lot. That is saying that if you were to question that this is saying a normal man who is not a bishop or an elder can have 2, 3, 4 wives, as many as his soul desire, or he should have none at all. Now I don't believe it should be none at all. So you pick. The choice is yours. You understand me? The choice is yours. But I try my best. I mean, I can only afford one wife, so I keep to my one wife. I cannot afford to have 2 wives, 3 wives. You understand me?
I don't think any man in this day and age can do that. To be very honest.
But really,
they have to be honest with themselves.
We can't even afford. We can't even afford
one.
the one wife.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
You check what I'm saying? We cannot afford the one that we have. It's just that she tolerates us.
That's right.
You understand me?
Right, yeah.
She tolerates us, so we live life, and sometimes we think that we do in her favor, not realizing that she is the one doing the favor. You know,
right.
Most times the woman is the one in charge. Because with that polygamy thing that we're talking about, when Abraham wanted another wife, because Sarai saw that Abraham could not, she could not give birth, and she was the one who went to select Hagar and gave Abraham Hagar as wife. So this is not the husband thing or wife thing is not really a godly concept, you know. The husband-wife thing or the marriage concept, that was their first attempt at birth control. Because they wanted to get rid of these indigenous people. So they tried to control you and they tell you, you see now, you're going to get married. But the concept of marriage or the marriage that we follow today is on the Lord Hardwicke's Act of 1753. Lord Hardwicke was an Englishman. And to go to get a license and to go to a marriage officer, whether it be your priest, your pastor, or those marriage, civil marriage officer, that was, all of that came under that act. Before such time, there was no legislation as to what marriage should be. That is why, that even David, in as much as David had to kill Uriah, to get Bathsheba as wife after he had slept with her. When the prophet came to David, God said to David, via the prophet, according to the story, that look, you had already so many wives. I also gave you all of Saul's wives, because you remember he succeeded Saul as a king. The Bible, that is recorded in the Bible. I also gave you all of Saul's wives. And if you needed a wife, man, David, you could have asked me, and I would have given it to you. That is the Bible. But no, Uriah only had one wife, that was Bathsheba. But you choose to fornicate with her. Now talking about fornication. A lot of people tell you fornication is sex before marriage. That is another biblical lie. Right. There is nothing called sex before marriage. You understand? There are laws, we respect laws, we obey laws, but if you were to question the laws, you push them, and then they will look at you as a madman. So I might end up being either when they censor. You understand me? But yeah, but there are laws. You know, these laws of when you look at the concept of marriage, you read Deuteronomy 22 from verse 13 to the end. It tells you what a marriage is. And any man, biblically speaking, who had sex with a virgin, that virgin would be his wife.
Yes, because of the blood.
Yes, you had to take a sheep. I assume it was a white sheep.
The blood acts like
your virgin
of
babe, right?
Of the
And in that Deuteronomy 22, man, this God of the Bible, I really don't understand why people worship him, especially women, because this God is really anti-women. Seriously, he is anti-women. This God is telling you that if I were to rape Faye, and I were to be found out, and she was a virgin, I raped her. The Bible is saying to me that Faye now, if I was found out, that I would have to marry her and not be permitted to divorce her all my days.
And I would have to stay with the
rapist. With the rapist. You would have to stay with the rapist.
That's amazing, eh?
Now,
that's torture.
It is torture. Now, listen to this God of the Bible again. He went further to say that when Israel goes out to war, usually they were supposed to kill every male that is in whatever tribe that they go to war against. Okay? So if Israel come to fight with my community at Fiat, Israel is to kill all the males at Fiat. They're also supposed to slaughter all the women that have known man.
Right.
And keep the virgins. But let me tell you, how would they know who is a virgin and who is not?
That's right.
So there will be a lot of sex in Israel, you know. And we do not want to, these are the things that we do not want to question. There will be a lot of sex in Israel to test for women's virginity.
Yes.
You understand me?
So that's like one big orgy. Eh?
One big orgy. You understand? And we don't read these things between the lines of the Bible, because we take it basically based on what our pastors or our priests tells us. We don't read it for ourselves. You know, just like I came with the Genesis 1 story. The Bible said in the beginning God created. But you tell me that the Bible is a Hebrew book. So when you now look at the Hebrew, you see Elohim, which is the plural form of God. But the singular form of God, which is Eloah, that also appears in the Bible.
That's right.
Eloah, E-L-O-A-H, some spelling like this in Hebrew. Eloah also appears in the Bible, but that is the singular form of God. The plural form of God was what went through the creation process in Genesis 1. Eloah is not mentioned not one time in Genesis 1.
It's Elohim.
It's Elohim. So there was a community of at least two. Yes. Those who want to say it was the Trinity at the time of God speaking to his angel, that is your business. But I always say in Genesis 1:17, the end product was male and female.
That's right.
So there had to be a male and a female. That's what I believe it is. I cannot prove that I was not there. But based on the literature that was given to me, that is what the literature is telling me. That's what the literature says. So that's what I go by.
That's really deep.
Yes. Because
go ahead. You were saying something.
You cannot dictate to me that I should accept something without question.
That's right.
And I drew the illustration earlier of the salt and white sugar. Yes. I cannot tell you I'm going to make juice and you're bringing me salt. And Mackie, I'm seeing salt written on the thing. But you tell me, well, Kintu, I just repackage this thing, man. I just put it in there. You know, and I do not dip my finger into it and test it to see.
So you take it at your own risk, at your own expense.
Yes, you take it at your own expense. And the unfortunate thing is, when persons come, like I've tested it and I realized, okay, this was salt, this was not sugar. You know, Mackie wants to get vexed with me for giving me sugar for salt. And that is what is happening. We have hit the good. Now, I'm not saying that Lucifer is any better than the God of the Bible, or the God of the Bible is better than Lucifer. I don't believe in either one of them. You understand me? Balance. But when you look at the Genesis story, and let me show you how deep this goes. You look at the Genesis story. The God of the Bible said the first lie to human. The very first lie recorded in the Bible was delivered by the God of the Bible. God said to Eve and Adam, on the day thou eatest of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt surely die. Did they die? On that day? Now, there goes Lucifer, according to the story. Because some say the serpent is Lucifer. Some say he is not, he was something else. But when you read the Bible, in the Revelation, Jesus, according to the story, is calling Satan or Lucifer that serpent of old that was in the garden. So we assume, based on the literature, that Satan or Lucifer was the serpent in the garden. The serpent went to the woman and said, well, did God actually tell you that? And the woman is like, yeah, man, you told us that we should not eat, not even touch it. You understand me? So Satan said to them, look, man, that is not true. On the day you eat it from that tree, your eyes will be open. You will become wise and you will become like God.
And that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. In Genesis 3, the conclusion of the matter, God is saying to this host of angels, or to his wife, or to his how many people, how many beings, I do not know. But God is saying, behold, the man has become like one of us. So that means Satan told him the truth. Knowing good and evil.
Yes.
Let us therefore cast him out of the garden, lest he stretch forth his hands and take also from the tree of life. So who was the liar? Persons often say that Satan is the father of lies. But prove to me in your literature that you handed me to claim Satan a liar. Prove to me in that literature where Satan have said any lie. I am yet to see. The God of the Bible is the murderer, mass murderer. Unlike Satan, if you look at the story, the only place where Satan killed as much as 10 people was in the story of Job. And all of that is with permission from God. But then God in his ultimate wisdom, knowing everything, apart from casting the man out of the garden.
And he also knew that Satan would be in existence.
Yes,
according to the Bible.
According to the Bible, he knew
according
that.
To the Bible.
Right? So he saw sin in Genesis 6-7 thereabout. And he said, boy, sin has come up to his face like a terrible, terrible odor. And he regretted man which he had created. So what he will do, he will destroy man from the surface of this earth. And the Bible said, according to the story.
But Lucifer remains.
Lucifer remains.
Who's actually the culprit.
According to the story.
But man had to be wiped out.
Man had to be wiped out.
The flood.
Now you know the most interesting thing. Man was wiped out. And God's prized possession, Noah. What was he as soon as he left there? He was a drunkard. He became a drunkard. He planted a vineyard and he became a drunkard. Now according to the story, his son Ham saw him naked and told the brothers about, and he cursed not Ham, but the son of Ham, Canaan. That is very unjust. Because I wouldn't want anybody to curse my only begotten son, Joachim Precious Ismael Lamontagne, for something that I did. Deal with me, please. You understand? Yeah. But there was Noah cursing his grandson for what his son saw. He was a drunkard. And God wiped the whole surface of the earth according to the story. The entire earth was covered with water for about 5 months. There goes God again, trying to get rid of sin. But sin became, as soon as this episode was done.
Yes.
In the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, we read that it was predominantly homosexual activity that was there. But I can guarantee you, it's not everybody there that was homosexual, for there were men and women there living. Right? God decided to destroy the twin cities of Sodom and Gomorrah according to the story. His prized possession was who? Lot. Lot, his wife and his 2 children fled from Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happened? Lot's wife turned back and she became a pillar of salt. Now, Lot had 2 daughters with him. What happened again? Another drunkard who had sex with his 2 daughters, and both of them gave him children. But God cannot punish this man.
But that was not the only case of that type of thing.
Oh no, but you see, the God of the Bible, he loves rum.
Yes,
he's a drunkard. Yeah, man, he's a drunkard. Jesus always drank wine. He always drank wine. He always had his wine. In the Last Supper, he had wine, so I could imagine how much rum Judas had for Judas to do what he did. You understand me? In the marriage supper, it is said that Mary came to him and said to him that, look, man, you know, the people's wine is finished, you know, and they need some wine. And very disrespectfully, he said, woman, what has that to do with me? Could you imagine I answered my mother, Masai, Mary Hilda Lamontagne, and tell her, from this hour, keep it to man. People will say I'm disrespectful to my mother.
And then we're supposed to honor
this
father
being.
And mother.
We're supposed to honor the father and mother, yes.
According to the
scripture, the same Bible.
Same.
Yes.
You're talking about the same.
It's the same Bible.
Same thing.
And there is Jesus being very disrespectful. Woman, what has that to do with me? But anyway, he decided he's going to turn this water into wine. And the people said that that's the best one that they ever had. The best one.
So, you know, I think we've proven how we can actually take a whole 5-hour show to discuss this.
Yeah.
But the point that he's making is that back to what he was saying, people need to actually
need to question things.
And we're not questioning the creator.
No, we're not
questioning source, but we're actually questioning anything that is written was written not by a spirit, not by a being, or translated. It has to have been done by a human.
Exactly.
So that is what, for all the Christians who would be offended, all the backlashing and tongue whipping, this is hatred, by the way.
Yes, it is.
If you preach love, you should not be offended when somebody brings light to a situation.
Light to you, yeah.
If you have anger and resentment and you want to do this, means something is wrong with you, and you shouldn't be on a platform preaching to people.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
I agree with
Because
you.
whenever you challenge a Christian on matters like those, the first thing they would do is attack.
Yes.
And when you put back questions to them from an innocent standpoint, because a lot of people really don't know,
True.
so they ask him genuinely, the first thing they would do is attack.
Yes.
And so you should not question. You should not. They say
should not
that based on
question
what
God.
was
That's what
told
it's
to them,
yeah.
but it's not questioning God. Nobody.
It's
is
questioning the literature.
God. It's questioning a book, and we have lots. We have millions of books in the world.
Yeah.
And this book was, remember, it was translated because it was never originally in the English.
No.
It was in the Amharic, and so it was not even legible.
But even before
Remember
that,
that?
even
It was
before
not.
that, are you aware that you can basically go through the whole Bible in the text that is scratched out in stone in the pyramid of
Right,
Giza?
yes, in the pyramid. That was
The Bible
was
plus.
the original, yes.
You can get it there. So this is our book that was edited, stolen first, edited, rewritten, edited again, rewritten again,
Yes.
edited again. That's why you have so many
Versions.
And you know a version
And that's
is
why-
not an original.
That's why under one,
They do not have any original Bible.
That's-
Every single Bible that they have is a version.
that's why there are many denominations
Exactly.
under that same one book who believes in one God. Can you
Yes.
explain that? Can we explain this?
Well, again, that leads to with the confusion that our oppressors has fed us. Now, today, I'm speaking a different language because of what I've read, but some people choose not to. However, if I am a pastor of your church, and I begin to tell you, for instance, something that I've come across, like the Saturday Sabbath is not a biblical Sabbath. Not that I follow a biblical Sabbath anyway, but the Saturday Sabbath is not a biblical Sabbath. So if I were to come with that doctrine, and most of my doctrine is true, let's say to the Church of God or to Adventists. I will use Church of God because that's what I was. I'm not bashing them, right? To the Church of God, a lot of what I said was true. Some of them who accept the biblical Sabbath will follow with me, right? So that already brings forth a division because they will realize that the Saturday Sabbath is not the biblical Sabbath.
And the whole thing is that division is not of the
It's not of
ultimate
God.
creator, because
The creator, sorry,
yeah,
but it is of God.
It is, yeah.
It is of the God of the Bible because he was the first divider when he came
Yes,
to
of
divide
the God of the Bible,
the tongue.
he is,
Yes,
yes,
he is.
most definitely.
When he came to confuse the tongue of men, he divided men.
That's
Because man were working, and you know, Babel was in Babylon, and they say Babylon was ancient Ethiopia. So they will paint everything black to be evil. And they have done that. They gave us a dictionary, which is their book, the spell book, so you can cast spells on it too. In their spell book, everything black is evil or wicked. Everything white is good. So that is how deep this thing has become, or how deep it is. Some people will never see it. Because they will say, well, boy, Kintu is just a word, man. But yeah, the word black means evil according to your dictionary. And so is black magic. And you have white magic, which is good magic. I questioned some Christians some time ago and tell them, but look, man, this thing that I didn't question them really. I posted something about voodoo, and they thought that I was following voodoo. I don't follow voodoo. I've never practiced it.
What was it you asked? Out of curiosity.
But voodoo is the religion of the indigenous people, or to some of them, that is.
Yes.
Right? And then you tell me that I should not kill a chicken to sacrifice. But there is the God of the Bible that knows so very well. And he's killing his very own son as a sacrifice for my sin.
No, but the animals,
Worst
the
thing-
lambs and the animals back in the Old Testament were the sacrifices. Eh?
Yes, they
in
were.
order to atone for your sins, you had to kill an animal to be sacrificed.
You
on
use
the
a
altar.
very biblical word there, atone.
Atone.
Do you know what animal was supposed to have been offered for the atonement sacrifice?
What is that? It was the lamb. Was it the lamb?
It was a she-lamb.
Yeah.
A she-lamb.
A Shimon.
So how did Jesus become the atonement being a male? But that's for another story, you know? Yes. So this confusion come about. So if I were to say and explain to you where this lunar Sabbath comes from, or the biblical Sabbath, which is of course the lunar Sabbath, this biblical Sabbath have nothing to do with Saturday. Because the days as we know it today is not what it is, what it used to be. You understand? So what has happened? Different people come with their doctrine, and since I was your friend, you decide to keep with that biblical Sabbath thing and let go of the Saturday. So Mackie Mac held on to his Saturday, and that is him. And some other persons held on to the Sunday because they say Jesus rose on the first day of the week. Question would be, what day is the first day of the week? I remember a story in Exodus, I think Exodus 16, when the word Sabbath was first mentioned in the Bible. The term Sabbath, when it was first mentioned in the Bible. In Exodus 16, when it was reinstated to Moses, according to the story, the God of the Bible asked Moses to look up to the heavens. But why look up to the heavens if I am to be looking for Sabbath? You see, the thing is, the moon is what dictates what the Sabbath is.
And then it is in astrology is according
it's
to
evil
the
now.
Bible.
According to Christianity,
It's evil.
Yes.
But yet still.
Notwithstanding, it was 3 wise men that was gazing at the stars.
That's right.
Jesus.
That's right.
Yes.
So it's just endless. And if you really look at it, when you're checking according to planting, farmers planting
Yes.
and stuff like that,
We still do
the
that
moon
according
is
to the moon
actually
cycle.
very precise
Yes.
on
It
all
is.
angles.
Mhm.
But if you would follow the moon, a Christian would bash you and say, that is obia. You should not be following the moon.
Yeah.
But you cannot fight nature.
No, you cannot
Nature
fight nature.
is always right, precise. You understand? Like
Yes, I do.
everything is. Nature is what actually
Nature is what keeps us
controls
together.
everything.
It controls everything. It keeps us
dominates
together.
everything. We can fix things how we want to and say, well, we're not supposed to follow this, the moons, the
The moon,
seasons, but these things are what controls everything.
But if we were not supposed to follow the moon and the sun and the stars, how do we get our days, our years, our
But
seasons?
there you have it. Now people don't even question those things because they, in the wanting to conform and not question because they don't want to offend, because that's a conditioning too.
Yes.
Where
it
you
is.
do not want to offend your parents because
Right.
they're your parents and they should know better than you,
Mhm.
or people who've been around longer than you. That's the other part where we have to break free from.
Yes, we have.
Realize that everybody's life path is theirs to be lived,
Yeah.
and it's not about the next person.
True. Agree.
Jane has lived her life, Ben has lived his life. You cannot tell somebody else how to live theirs.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
But the thing about it is we have to learn acceptance, tolerance, and ultimately, you know, I think freedom is supposed to come from within.
Yes.
Freedom and allow for people to be free within themselves.
Exactly.
And not want to say, like, fire burn a brother because that brother choose to
Do things differently.
To do things differently or worship
Yeah.
whatever they want to worship. You know, just it's all about
Being free to do what you want, when you want, at the time that you want.
acceptance
Yeah.
of each other. Yes. So I think it's time for us to wrap up. We wish we could extend, but we can't because we have time constraints. And but your music obviously inspires. Bottom line is the music obviously inspires lots of thought.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as time goes by, you will continue to put out music which would actually
Which
show
will
that.
generate discussion and thought.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
I definitely think we should have Kintu come back another time.
Oh no, we have to. It's a must.
Yeah.
We just don't have enough time to have one.
Well, there is nothing like enough time. You know. We make the time because time is a control mechanism
That's right.
You
also.
can imagine that
We have to allocate the time for
we will
you.
wait there and imagine because all the information we could
Gathered in this short space of time.
time. So it was meant to be like that. Yeah.
That's right.
True.
But valuable things, because these are things that people have asked themselves secretly, but because of the need not to want to offend, and we need to get that out of us.
The fear of God.
The fear of God.
Fear of God.
Yes,
Fear.
that too.
Know that fear is our own worst enemy.
Agree.
So that's why we thought, oh, this person worshiping voodoo, we should fear them, we should lock them up, we should do this, we should do that.
But what is really wrong? Before we wrap up, I know we talk about
That's
wrapping
what
up.
people actually try to institute and inculcate in us.
Coming up with voodoo again, let me just say this thing. Coming up with voodoo again. Look, man, they tell me that if you practice voodoo, Maki, that if you were to steal, you come to my house and you stole from my house. Let's say you stole my television, right? If I practice voodoo, I can have you to return that television.
Yes.
What is wrong with that? That is what I want. I bought my television and I want you to return my television. So I sacrifice my chicken, and when I sacrifice the chicken, in the voodoo thing, when you sacrifice the chicken will be eaten by by the people. We do not burn it and allow the priest, like the Bible used to do, take all the nice parts and then give the scrap to the people. Everybody in the community who practice it, or in that community of voodoo, or they sacrifice the, that service, if I may call it that, for want of a better word. Everybody who partake in that service will eat of that chicken. You understand? And it's not a place where the priest of the old would take all the nice parts and give the people the scraps. You understand? So I want my television, I go practice voodoo so you can return my television to me. It doesn't matter if I put you standing by my house a whole 10 hours before I come back, but I'm getting my television. There is nothing wrong with that. That's what I want. So what is evil in voodoo? Yeah, but
I guess that's good for fun.
Yes, that's good for fun,
That's mad.
Yeah.
So it's same as your right now, right?
Yeah.
Right. You say Kintu is nice having you around here. Is there anyone you want to shout out or burn?
Yeah, well, we don't burn anybody, but I would like to big up my promoters, Ashadan of Sida's production, and Hayadan from Trumpet Sound Production. These guys have been very kind to me, I've produced some wonderful rhythms, where I can just, well, it's not every rhythm that you will ride, but like Shabarang said, DJ ears cock up when you hear boom rhythm. So some of them rhythm is really boom rhythm. So from the time you hear it, it's like, yeah man, we need to do that one day, The unfortunate thing is a lot of the rhythms that I ride is dancehall rhythm. And you don't really find this dancehall music being played, in the music is being played, but those with these positive messages that will cause people to question, you don't find these things playing much in the dancehall. So I think I will have to revert to more one drop kind of rhythm where persons will sit back and relax and enjoy. But I would love to big up my God and my goddess, Mary and Joseph Lamontagne, that is Masai and Mr. Sai. Those of you from Sufra, you all know them quite well, because Kintu is originally from Sufra. Yeah, I was born right here in Sufra, raised in Fobeni, Laho, Konobet, in these regions there before my parents moved over to Shuzel. I would love to big up my family, my Empress Veneta Modest, my children, Christy, Rachel, Joachim, Mekidan, and Zenga. One blessed love, my family, my brothers and sisters, my fans, my families, my enemies, especially those who have some good fights on Facebook. Some of them include Libo. Yeah man, Libo and I have some good, nice, interesting fights on Facebook. Ambrose Adolf, higher than himself, and a whole set of others, We say one blessed love still. The discussions will continue. We can't stop. Because you need to prove yourself in whatever it is that you choose to go into. Maki Mark, thanks for the opportunity. Empress Faye, we say one blessed love every time, We don't hold no grudge, we don't hold no malice. So we big up everybody.
Yes, here we always welcome freedom of expression, because that's what life is about. It should be, that we all have a voice.
True.
As beings, and each being has equal rights. There is equal rights to everybody. So we're not we're not like going to say, oh, we're gonna not have this on our show, not have that on our show.
Right.
That's not what we're about. So we like to have people who actually have the guts to stand for what they believe. True. Because that's what we need, people in the world to do that.
Exactly.
Yes, at the end of the day.
We are all individuals.
Exactly.
I cannot think like Maki Mak. I cannot do the things that he does. I can only do what Kintu wants to do. The things that Kintu can do.
That's right. Yes. But at the end of the day, we respect each other and we love each other and everybody Irish. Right? Right, Matt?
Right. One people.
Love, happiness, joy.
Yeah, man, one people. That is why one of the songs that I have that speaks about I see souls, may not see people.
That's right, I see souls.
Yeah.
Of course.
So you need to see the souls of people and not people.
And if we do that, we have no grudges at the end of the day.
At all.
We can have any discussion with anybody from any walk of life, and we have no grudge at
that is true. All souls are connected.
Yes.
Blessed love.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. You're welcome.